Albus Severus Potter. Albus Severus Potter has a problem before he even reaches Hogwarts. His name carries Dumbledore, Snape, and Harry Potter at the same time. Before Albus can become his own person, the wizarding world has already turned him into a comparison. Then, the Sorting Hat sends him to Slytherin. For Harry, that house once meant danger, and his arch-enemy, Draco Malfoy. For Albus, it becomes home, but it also makes him feel even more separate from his family. He is caught between the Potter name everyone expects him to live up to, and the Slytherin identity that makes him feel like he has already disappointed them. He is old enough to feel the pressure, but too young to have an idea what to do with it. He wants to prove himself. That is why Cedric Diggory matters to him. When Cedric's father Amos begs for the past to be fixed, Albus sees a chance to prove that he can do something great. And Cedric is the perfect target for that guilt, because nobody thinks of him as a villain. He was brave, decent, and killed because he stood in the wrong graveyard at the worst possible moment. He steals a time turner and tries to save Cedric. The idea sounds noble. The result is a disaster, with extra steps. People vanish. Voldemort wins in one timeline. Hogwarts becomes colder, crueler, and more dangerous. Albus wanted one heroic moment. Instead, he learns that being Harry Potter's son does not make changing history any easier. Scorpius Malfoy. Scorpius Malfoy should be the easiest character to pigeonhole. He is a Malfoy in Slytherin, with Draco as his father and Lucius as his grandfather. The surname enters the room first and immediately starts damaging his reputation. But Scorpius turns out to be the least threatening Malfoy possible. He is clever, nervous, polite, emotional, and far more interested in books and sweets than family status. Lucius probably did not imagine a grandson who could be defeated by awkward silence. Unfortunately, Scorpius is not treated gently just because he is gentle. Students spread the cruel rumor that he might be Voldemort's son. His mother Astoria is dying from a blood curse, and therefore not seen in public. So Scorpius carries grief while everyone else treats him like a scandal. The sad detail is that Draco actually tries to protect his family from that rumor. He may still be awkward, proud, and very Draco, but fatherhood has clearly changed him. That is why his friendship with Albus works. Albus is crushed by the Potter legend. Scorpius is blamed for the Malfoy one. Draco tried to survive by looking untouchable. Scorpius survives by staying kind. For a Malfoy, that is like a family rebellion. Rose Granger Weasley. Rose Granger Weasley enters Hogwarts with Hermione's intelligence, Ron's competitive streak, and the Weasley ability for making every small moment feel slightly louder than necessary. She is sorted into Gryffindor, becomes a strong student, and later plays Chaser. Her parents helped defeat Voldemort and fought blood purity. She grows up in a home where old prejudices should look stupid, finished, and embarrassing. At King's Cross, she meets Scorpius Malfoy, and suddenly, the surnames start to matter again. Ron jokes that Rose should beat Scorpius in every test. It is meant lightly, but it also hands her an old rivalry before the school year even starts. Nothing says fresh start like giving your child homework and outdoing families. Peace gives people a chance to change. It does not do the work for them. James Sirius Potter. James Sirius Potter is Harry's oldest child, and he seems determined to prove that peace has consequences. Not terrible consequences, just loud ones. He is already at Hogwarts when Albus is about to start, and James has clearly learned the oldest sibling art of saying exactly the wrong thing at exactly the right time. His name connects him to James Potter and Sirius Black. Those two caused enough school trouble separately. Combining their names in one child feels like inviting Hogwarts to check its insurance. James teases Albus about Slytherin before the sorting. To James, it is probably just a joke, but Albus hears it as proof that Slytherin would make him wrong, different, and harder to love. Still, James also represents something Harry never had: a normal school life. Harry's childhood was survival. James can gossip, tease, annoy his siblings, and act like Hogwarts is just a place where students learn magic, instead of a yearly attempt on someone's life. That is progress. Lily Luna Potter. Lily Luna Potter is the youngest Potter child, which means she still has to wait until her letter arrives. At King's Cross, her brothers have Hogwarts. Her cousins have Hogwarts. The train is right there, making steam and noise in front of her, and she is still too young to go. For a child, that feels like betrayal with luggage. Her name still matters. Lily comes from Harry's mother, whose sacrifice protected him. Luna comes from one of the strangest and kindest people Harry knew. So Lily's name feels less like pressure and more like a reminder of love, loyalty, and staying yourself. Later, Lily is sorted into Gryffindor and can live a normal life like her older brother James. After everything Harry survived, that kind of ordinary childhood is not boring. It is the reward. Hugo Granger Weasley. Hugo Granger Weasley barely gets the spotlight, which makes him strangely important. He is Ron and Hermione's son, Rose's younger brother, and proof that the Weasley family tree still had room for one more red-haired problem. In the epilogue of Deathly Hallows, Hugo is still too young for Hogwarts, standing on the platform while Rose gets to leave first. He is simply there, part of the happy ending. Then time travel makes that simply there much more important. When Albus and Scorpius change the past, they create alternate futures. In one version, Ron and Hermione never end up together. And if Ron and Hermione never marry, Rose and Hugo disappear from the timeline. Hugo proves that the happy ending is fragile. Change one thread, and someone's entire life can vanish. Teddy Lupin. Teddy Lupin is one of the clearest signs that the war ended differently for the next generation. His parents, Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks, die in the Battle of Hogwarts. Teddy becomes an orphan as a baby. He is born close to the final battle, so his life begins with victory and loss standing right next to each other. But Teddy's story does not repeat Harry's. Harry lost his parents and ended up with the Dursleys, where love was apparently stored in a cupboard and never opened. Teddy loses his parents too, but he is raised by Andromeda Tonks, with Harry as his godfather. Andromeda also loses her husband, daughter, and son-in-law in the war, so Teddy is raised by someone who understands exactly what Voldemort's violence took. By the epilogue, Teddy is at Harry's house for dinner so often that calling him a guest feels generous. 4 dinners a week is not visiting. It is a meal plan. Teddy is also a metamorph magus. He does not inherit Remus's werewolf condition, which is one mercy the story actually allows. His life is still marked by grief. But unlike Harry, he grows up surrounded by people who know exactly what loss can do to a child. This time, they do not leave the orphan alone. Delphi Diggory. Delphi Diggory arrives like a harmless mystery, and then turns into the worst possible answer. She presents herself as Amos Diggory's niece, and uses his grief over Cedric to get close to Albus and Scorpius. Amos wants his son back, Albus wants to prove himself, Scorpius wants to help his friend. Delphi looks at all of that pain, and sees an opportunity. At first she seems strange, intense, and a little off. Then the truth comes out. She is not a Diggory. She is the daughter of Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange. That changes everything. Voldemort spent his life rejecting love and weakness, yet his legacy still produced a child. Delphi would have been born while Voldemort's second war was collapsing toward the Battle of Hogwarts, which makes her less like a normal secret child, and more like the last hidden weapon of a dying regime. Delphi is raised in secrecy, obsessed with restoring him once again, and determined to use time itself as a weapon. She has an augury tattoo, follows a prophecy, and tries to stop Voldemort's defeat before it happens. Apparently nobody in that family learned to treat prophecies as dangerous, but Delphi's real power is manipulation. Albus wants purpose, Scorpius wants loyalty, Amos wants Cedric. Delphi turns every wound into a handle. The next generation tries to step out of the old shadows. Delphi tries to drag the shadows back over everyone.